Hello and welcome to Fire and Ice for Wellness in the Workplace. My name is Victoria Morley and I'm a calm and confidence coach specialising in Nordic inspired living and enrichment. Ian, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sorry, I have a bit of technical difficulties here. Right now, my name's Ian George. I'm a self-awareness and empowerment coach. I focus all about self-awareness. I strongly believe that if you are aware of your triggers and what it is that makes you tick, the outside world cannot use it against you. So that is me.
So we're going to be talking a lot about fire and ice today and using the Vikings as an example. So I was just wondering, Ian, what do you think of this quote? He's a wise man who knows himself. Obviously, this applies to everybody, not just men, but what does that sort of make you think of? How do you interpret that quote?
Pretty much what I said in my introduction. I believe it's important to be self-aware of yourself. We get on our backs a bit too hard for our individualities and exactly who we are and what we think. But if you are aware of your triggers, why it's there, what drives it, what drives you to do what it is that you do, good or bad, you become very wise. You end up not being so hard on yourself, you just end up being growing. So I think it's a very important message.
I do too, and I think sometimes we can focus a lot more on what's going on externally and not so much about what's going on within us and how we can take control of certain situations. So we're going to focus on that quite a bit today, aren't we? How we can take control and how we can sort of get to know ourselves, how we work, and unearth our own strength in different ways in the workplace. Okay, so I'm going to hand over to you, Ian, now, because you're going to take us through the fire section, aren't you?
So, right. So yeah, we're going to be talking about, as you can see here, the 5 ways to fuel your fire in the workplace. Okay. So the first one we're going to come up with is focus. Now, this is about your why. Now, there's a Nordic quote, and it goes, "That which has a bad beginning is likely to have a bad ending." Now, that should speak volumes to you. That's why we start with our why. If we don't start with our why, we don't know which way we're going. We don't know if what we're doing is actually taking us in the direction of our greater good. Does that make sense? So it's important to find your why. Now, your why has to be very compelling to you, because we're all telling ourselves a story, whether you realize it or not. When you're there believing, I'm not good at my job, or I'm brilliant at my job, or I'm confident, or I'm not, or anything, that's the story that we tell ourselves. So our story is what drives us to go forward. Now, the 2 things that I would say that you have to avoid when it comes to your why, it cannot be fear-based. Now, in regards to fear, now think about it now. I think a lot of us have been through relationship breakups. When we feel like that relationship is at an end, what are our actions like? It's quite erratic. We don't think straight when we do it out of fear. So if it comes out of fear, so if you're doing work like thinking, oh, I'm gonna lose my job, I'm gonna end up making a company look bad, this and this and this, it's coming from a place of fear, and that could mess a lot of your actions up, if that makes sense. And the other thing, if you can help it, do not make it just about money. Now, if you just make it about money, now obviously it's a good motivator if you're poor, if you're broke, like I've been there, so no judging here. But at the same time, if you're only doing it for money, once you get the money, what's fueling you then? So it has to be really authentic. It has to mean something to you. It could be your kids, it could be your parents, it could be something to make you get up in the morning and get going. Okay, so that will be the focus. That will be your why. Okay. Okay, now inspiration. Now this one is quite straightforward for me. Who is it that inspires you? Now it could be a family member, it could be a friend, it could even be a celebrity, it can even be a fictional character. Now that may sound silly, but the whole point of having someone that that gives you inspiration is it gives you a direction to go in. And what I mean by that, we need to know what it is that we are trying to aspire to be. Okay, so So say you want to be a great parent, so you want to model your own parents. So there would be your inspiration there, because you've got a bit of a blueprint in front of you in which way you want to go. Or let's say that it's a celebrity, say that you respect any of the celebrities, like Denzel Washington or something like that. Like if you're looking at them, like how they carry themselves, their posture, everything else, then you sort of like, yeah, I want to be like, I want to be a strong mindset individual like them. Now, that, believe it or not, a lot of people, even the greats, have people who they're inspired to be. A lot of them. Anyone that you think of, there's always someone that they're inspired to be. So yeah, like you need to obviously do your focus. After you've done your focus, think about who you're inspired to be, because then we know which way we're going. Okay, so that's inspiration. Now, resilience. Now, this reminds me of another saying, and it goes, fight your foes in the field, nor be burnt in your house. Now, that means do not be fearful of a challenge. You need to go to it head on. Okay. Now, it kind of sounded, the quotes kind of sounded a bit morbid, but it's not. It basically means if there's a challenge in front of you, you need to go to it. You need to feel the exhilaration of that challenge. Because if you shy away from the challenge and keep on getting away from the challenge, at some point it will come to you, and it will eventually knock you down because you're not prepared for it. You're not ready for it. So as we all know, in order to become resilient, you have to put yourself in a position to become resilient. You cannot just stay in your comfort zone here. Okay, otherwise the word means nothing. So that is when we talk about finding your SISU. Okay, the SISU is your grit. It's the fire inside, the thing that makes you think, you know what, doesn't matter what happens, I'm going for it. Okay, that's the thing. If you're a parent, that's the thing that makes you think, you know what, doesn't matter how hard times go and all that, I'm doing this for my kids. Okay, and even if you're at a job and you're thinking, right, I'm lacking here, I need to do better, right? So we need to get these targets met. I need to end up pulling my weight more in regards in the workplace, because I'm not doing enough, right? And then remember, it's not a fear-based thing. It's the thing that gets you up, the thing that gives you that drive. Okay, so that is SISU. Okay, so the next one is, right, empowerment. Now, as we all know, the Vikings always believed that the gods were within them. That's what kind of gave them, you know, when they were ready to fight, run into battle, like they felt like they had the gods in them. So then there's this quote, and I think it's perfect for this one, right? And it goes, the giant in front of you is never bigger than the gods who live within you. So I want you to think about, what is it that nurtures the gods within you? Now that sounds quite a huge mountain of a thing. It's really not that big. Now it could be music. For me, when I was in a bad place, music helped. Especially I was listening to music that was back when I used to go out and stuff when I was younger. The music, when you hear music and all that, you end up getting up, wanting to dance and all that. You end up in a good mood. You're like ready for the world. It could be that. It could be something that the person that inspires you does. So let's go back to music. Let's say that you inspire, Lady Gaga inspires you, right? Because one of her songs said about how she got bullied when she was younger, and now that's why the song came out. I was born this way. She doesn't care about what people think anymore. So that's quite an inspirational thing, right? So say that listening to that track gives you that sort of get up and go. That gives you the empowerment to get up and get it done. So that could be music. It could be a motivational video. It could be, and like I know someone, as soon as she gets up, she puts on her makeup, she dresses up and ready for work. She says as soon as she's got her makeup and stuff, she is ready. She's in boss mode. Okay, so I like you to find the thing that empowers you, that gives you that sort of, right, it's time. Because we can find our why. We can find the thing that inspires us. We can find the thing that makes us resilient. But it's normal to have one of them days. It's normal to wake up and feel like, oh, I'm not in the mood. That's why we need something that empowers us, to charge up our batteries, get us going, so then the rest can fall into place. It's all cogs in a clog. In a clog? in a clock. So it all works together. Okay? So that is those are the ways to help you find your fire in the workplace. It's a very important thing. Okay, so that's me.
Thank you very much. That was very inspirational. So I'm going to take over now, and we're going to look at ice for a few minutes.
Okay.
So we're going to look at counteracting overwhelm to create calm, because this is something that we are all dealing with at the minute. We all deal with it in the workplace: overwhelm, stress, fatigue, screen fatigue. So we need to learn different ways to create calm. So we're going to look at 3 ways to keep you cool and create this calm in the workplace. So the first one is innovation. What unique ideas do you have personally? Anyone that knows me knows that I'm an idea factory. I'm always thinking of new ideas, but this is something that can help us to break out of, if you imagine we'll put ourselves in this glass box or this box made of ice, and we're kind of trapped in it. We can kind of trap ourselves in it, viewing different obstacles as something that's blocking our path. But ideas are a way that we can sort of slice through these walls that we can create for ourselves or that are put in front of us. And I'm going to look a little bit more at this in tomorrow's workshop, which is about confidence catalysts. And I'm going to talk about how we can create confidence. We can create diamonds to sort of cut through this glass and be able to overcome all the different obstacles. But ideas are a very good way to problem solve, to navigate difficult situations, and to just think of different ways and different processes of doing things, rather than just thinking, oh, there's this set way of doing something, I need to stick to this exact procedure. Obviously, procedures are in place for a reason, but when we're faced with problems, sometimes ideas and innovation can help us to navigate these obstacles, and it'll create calm in the workplace. So that's the first one, that's innovation. The second one is calm itself. So it's really about being proactive in your own workspace and in your own environment to actively create calm for yourself. I delivered a workshop yesterday about 7 different Nordic neutralizers to create calm. So you can work through that one and look at the 7 different ways that you can create calm in the workplace. But really, like Ian says, with empowerment, it's really about thinking, what creates calm for me? We're all individuals. Certain people might enjoy a peaceful bit of music, or you might need to take yourself away from a difficult situation for a little bit. So really, it's about finding what it is that creates calm for you. Is it a little bit of meditation or relaxation, or something that you can incorporate in your work day to actively create this calm environment for yourself, and to sort of counteract any stress and overwhelm and tension that you might be carrying. So it may be that you go home on a night time, you do some journaling before bed, or you have a morning routine that helps to set up this calm environment before you even start work. Or it might be that, again, it's a problem solving thing where something might happen in your day and you have to be able to be resilient and turn on this calm, create this calm for yourself to counteract whatever stress manifests itself. Because we all have situations that we don't expect come up in our day. And really, it's about being able to just take a step back from whatever it is, get a clearer view of everything, take a deep breath, and actively put in action these tools that we already have. We already know what creates calm for ourselves, and it's just about doing them sometimes, isn't it? So that's number 2, that's calm. And the third one is expectations. And there's 3 different expectations that really can create stress and overwhelm. And it's our own expectations. It's the things that we put on ourselves. Are they too heavy? Are they realistic and manageable? Or are we being ridiculous with what we're expecting from ourselves? And we all do it. Every single one of us do this, but it's just about balancing it and really thinking, do I need to expect that from myself, or can I be a little bit more lenient there and prioritizing what's important? So there's our own expectations. There's expectations of others that they put on us. And really, if those expectations are not manageable and not realistic, it's about being assertive and respectful enough to communicate that to somebody else, to be able to open up that conversation and say, look, I appreciate that you're expecting this of me, but realistically, this is what I can offer, and this is what I can realistically do in the workplace. And the third type of expectation is the expectation that we think other people have of us. So they may not even have these expectations, but we might have just sort of taken it on ourselves and think, everybody thinks I need to do this. Everybody thinks I need to do that. They're going to be expecting this of me. And that is something that we are actually projecting on other people. They're not communicating that to us. They're not asking that of us, but we are sort of putting ourselves in that situation of extra stress when we might not need to. So really, again, it's just about stepping back and weighing up what is realistic and what is actually manageable when it comes to expectations in the workplace. So that is the fire and ice introduction that we've just done. Obviously, we expand on that more in further training sessions that we do deliver. But now I want to talk a little bit, we want to talk a little bit about finding your strength, because this is something that we all need, especially right now. We're talking about wellness, and strength is something that can help us to feel a lot better in many, many ways. So are you up to the challenge of finding your strength? That's what we want to put out there to everybody right now. And what we're going to discuss in the next few slides is not for the faint-hearted. It's an invitation for people who want to make some serious changes. So if that's you, then maybe get a notepad and a pen, or sit and give this your full attention, because this is something that can help you to really dig down deep and find your strength. And Ian, I don't know if you want to jump in for any of this as well, and we can just have a chat about it, because obviously your opinion's valuable here as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to unearth SISU. So you mentioned SISU a bit earlier, didn't you? Yeah. And we're going to talk about the 5 steps to sort of laying the foundations to really getting your SISU as a focus in your life. So the first one is planning ahead. So what do you think about that, Ian? Planning well can empower you.
Well, it's like it's like what I said about the focus. Definitely, planning ahead is very important. Now, you're not going to get everything right. That's not what this is about. In order to find your SISU, you need to be willing to risk making a mistake too, because we learn from them too. And sometimes you need to learn what you don't want to find what it is that you do want. You need to be brave enough to do that. So it's important to plan ahead and take certain steps, so you're purposely looking for SISU rather than just wandering around hoping to find it. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? So yeah. It's very important.
And sometimes planning ahead, when people don't plan ahead and they don't structure things a little bit, and have the schedule or to-do list or whatever it is, and actually make a plan of action of where they're going, that can create a lot of stress, can't it? Because you feel less in control of your own situation. So we're going to highlight some of the pain points, some of the issues that people have, and then we're going to talk about tools that you can use a bit later on to counteract it. So planning ahead, that's one of them. Mm-hmm. Physical strength. So how do you think building physical strength and exercise can help?
Physical strength, and speaking from someone who has dealt with anxiety and depression, I know there's a lot of studies that say exercising is great, but coming from a person that's actually gone through certain bad times, exercise helps me to become more resilient, because I'm putting myself in a position to become resilient, to beat my best. Or, like on the first day, like I couldn't lift a certain weight, whereas now I can. It does a thing to your mind and a thing to your confidence that you can't really put down in so much as data, but it definitely lifts you up. You hate it at first, well, you think you hate it, but it's just that your body's not used to it.
Yeah.
But then when you overcome it, it will help everything else. I promise you that.
I think everybody knows, don't they, really deep down, that if you do a bit of exercise, you're going to pick yourself up a bit, you're going to feel better. It's a well-known fact that physical exercise helps with the emotional, physical, and mental resilience, and it can just give you that boost. So that is definitely an important one. Forging healthy relationships in the home and in the workplace. How can that help people feel strong and resilient?
Well, we've all heard of toxic relationships. That word gets thrown about a lot nowadays. But it's important to forge healthy relationships. And I don't mean relationships that just say, oh, yes, you're right. Yes, you're wrong. Yes, like, you know what I mean? You need someone to blatantly tell you that if you're doing, sorry, I said that wrong at first, but if you got someone who is blatantly willing to tell you that what you're doing is not for your better, like your better good, that is a very important thing to have. A lot of us self-sabotage ourselves, especially when we're in a bad place. So if you have someone with you that says, right, what you're doing there is actually toxic. It's not helping you. It's making you feel more like worse. What are we going to do about it? Get up, let's do it. Then when you got that, it may be frustrating, but it's a very, 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 very important tool to your growth. Right? As long as their heart is in the right place, you need that. You have to be real with yourself, because we don't always get it right. We don't. And that's why it's good to have healthy relationships around us, so they can be our eyes and ears when our eyes and ears are not working too good, because we're too emotional, or we're triggered, or we're stressed out. So it's important to have people around you that are there to help you grow, not just there to agree with everything you're saying.
Yeah. And if there's conflict, whether it's in the workplace or in the home, that friction can cause a different sort of fire, can't it? And
Yes.
it's very disruptive. So really it's about forging bonds with people that can help to empower and strengthen and create calm. And we all feel great when we've got healthy relationships. It's when you have bad relationships and friction that it creates stress, and it really, really does have an impact. And it's, if you have stressful relationships at home, it impacts on work. And if you have stressful relationships at work, it impacts on your home life. So really it's about learning how to forge these healthy relationships in both of those areas of your life, isn't it?
Yeah, no, that's 100% right. If we're going back to the analogy of fire, the best way to tell the difference, a healthy relationship should give you a spark. The toxic ones will create wildfire. Do you see what I mean?
I like that.
Wildfire, when it's in the forest, like it's out of control. You can't nurture that. But fire can also warm you up. Fire can also cook. Fire can do so many things. But if you have toxic one, it'll just set a light to the forest.
Yeah.
And that's not what you need.
Yeah, definitely not. So that's the third one, healthy relationships. The fourth one's drawn strength from others. So it's kind of building on the relationships, but taking it a step further, isn't it? Because it's about working with people at home and at work who empower you, drawing strength from them. And it's like, you know how people say a smile's contagious. Well, strength's contagious, isn't it?
Yeah. 100%.
If you see someone who's strong and they are getting on with things and they're determined and they're motivated and they're enthusiastic, what naturally happens to us? It pass it on, don't we?
Definitely. And the other thing about drawing strength from others, it's your responsibility to nurture it. You have to nurture that relationship. If you do not nurture that relationship and you've just got strong people around you, you can end up feeling a bit intimidated.
Yeah.
And you end up unconsciously, especially if you're in a bad place, you end up putting them on a pedestal. And so when they're there trying to give you advice and stuff like that, will instantly start thinking, right, they're better than me and stuff. That's not what drawing power from one another is.
No.
It's like a family, you know. So you have to nurture it, like meet up with each other, just talk about things, share experiences, and when that bond gets stronger, you will draw strength from each other. It will come part and parcel, and it will be done in a healthy way.
Yeah.
Okay, that's important. Nurturing.
Yeah, and it's like, for example, say we're candles and my wick might be going out slightly. I might just have a little bit of a smoldering flame, and it's not, as you know, it's just about to go out. I could take some of your fire and it would help reignite my fire, sort of thing. And it's the same in the workplace. We can do that with our colleagues. if we see someone's flagging a little bit and their flame's going out a little bit, it's not to say that their flame's going to go out completely, but people can burn out. They can burn out in the workplace. We're going to have a workshop all about burnout as well, which will be available to watch. And that's with Phil, isn't it? So it is very, very important to try and keep other people strong as well as ourselves. So if we're in a stronger place, we can pass that on to other people, can't we?
That's it.
Okay, so that's drawing strength from others. Fifth one, pushing out of your comfort zone. You mentioned this earlier, didn't you, with the empowerment?
Yeah.
How would you?
I'm just going to be honest with you. And like Victoria said, this isn't for the faint-hearted. You're not going to get stronger if you stay in your comfort zone. And you're just not. It's hard. It's scary. It is scary, but it's totally worth it. 100%. If you go into a gym and there's like a 40 kg weight, and at first you couldn't even lift it, the more and more and more you practice, you'll be able to lift that, but that's still 40 kg. The weight hasn't changed. You have changed. Yeah. If you want to create change, you have to be the change. So you have to come out of your comfort zone. There's no other way around it. So you need to think to yourself, if you are unhappy right now in your comfort zone, what's the cost of staying in your comfort zone? Carrying on feeling like how you are is not the solution. And it's like the saying goes, a lot of people choose known hells over unknown heavens because it's familiar, and you cannot stay in your comfort zone if you want to become stronger and more, and have more control in your life, more belief in yourself. You cannot stay in your comfort zone to achieve that. And that's just the way it is.
It's because that fear and that we'll get a bit of resistance, don't we? So, and that's uncomfortable. If you're uncomfortable, you kind of want to retreat back into sort of your little ice cave that you've created for yourself. But it's about venturing out of it. And obviously it's good to have a safe space where you feel content and cozy, and you feel comfortable and you feel calm. But if you're wanting to find strength and you're wanting to reach goals, it's like if you climb a mountain, for example, you might look at it and think, oh, it's so big, it's towering over me. But it's just one step at a time. And then you look back and you realize how far you've actually come.
That's it.
Yeah, that doesn't mean to say that you're not going to have obstacles on the way up that you've got to try and navigate, or you're not going to find resistance. It might not be easy all of the time, but when you look back, you'll see how far you actually have come. Yeah,
and the one mistake that I believe a lot of people make, and me included, I've made the same mistake. When someone says that we have to come out of our comfort zone, so imagine our comfort zone as a bubble. It's like we feel like when we hear it, as soon as we come out of our bubble, we need to go straight ahead and run forward. No, just because you're out of your comfort zone doesn't mean you need to sprint the rest of the way. You just need to take a little bit more, and eventually your bubble will become bigger and bigger and bigger. So you step out, nurture it, step a little bit more, nurture it. It will all add on, and it will become stronger as you go along. Yeah, but you have to keep on doing them steps and nurturing it as you go along. It's very important, isn't it? If you want to find strength and make progress. So that's the 5 steps. And what we've done, we've created a Viking experience to help you take those 5 steps, start making progress and find your SISU. So we've looked at ways that you can counteract these different things and start to be proactive with them. So we have Ali, who's going to help you pack your emotional backpack and map ahead for resilience. And planning ahead, like we've said, can empower you. It can help you to approach your goals with strength and tenacity. So that's why we'll have Ali on board with that. We have Sophia, who will help you deal with struggles or heartbreak that you might be facing at the minute, and forge healthy relationships and bonds. And this is all about creating healthy boundaries as well, good communications and strong bonds with friends, loved ones, and colleagues. We have 3 skilled fitness coaches that will help to empower and guide you to help you make big changes in 30 days.
and they'll help you get fit and build emotional, physical and mental resilience so that you can reach your fitness goals. I think a lot of us have fitness goals at the minute, don't we, as well? After lockdown, we're all a bit stagnant.
100%.
There's a lot of people who are wanting to do some work on themselves, me included at the minute. So this is for you. And me and Ian, we'll be helping you transform your mindset using a unique fire and ice coaching framework that we've sort of introduced you to a little bit today. And this will help with your mindset and motivation, will help you build resilience and endurance, and we'll help just to reignite that flame like we mentioned and draw strength from each other. So that's what we'll be doing in Viking Camp. And Susan and Ryan will help you to push yourself out of your comfort zone and create amazing SISU experiences. So things like ice birthing, breath work, sunrise mountain walks. These are things that will actually help you to build this strength and find your SISU. And you have to be open to new experiences to get involved with this, because some of it is going to be a little bit uncomfortable. Push yourself out of your comfort zone. But we've mentioned the benefits already of doing that. And we have Johan as well, who will be sharing 9 noble virtues. And he's the Viking coach. So he's an expert in helping you find your Viking valor. And he'll be, that's a little bit of a bonus section as well for people who want to join on Viking Camp. So if you find your strength with us, you will graduate as a Viking. It's not open yet. We have a waiting list, but the waiting list is only open to people who are committed to making some serious changes. And this is physical, mental, and emotional strength and resilience. It's a 30-day challenge, and you can join the waiting list at vikinspired.uk, or you can contact us for more information if you want to have a chat about it. If you've enjoyed working with us and in this workshop and listening along, you can see me in the Confidence Catalysts and Collaborations workshop. I'll be doing that with Ali Bagley. It's on Thursday morning at 10 o'clock, or you can watch it on replay on the YouTube channel. Ian will be delivering a workshop about healthy accountability and generalized anxiety, and that's on Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock. So you can join him there or watch the replay. And you can connect with us both at Vic Inspired UK or Productive Inspiration. Those are our Instagram pages. So yes, we have been raising money this week for the Samaritans in memory of Mark Costigan, a fellow coach of ours. So the link for that will be in the description as well. But you've been listening to Fire and Ice for Wellness in the Workplace. And if you have any questions, please do contact us and we'd be happy to help. Thank you.